You've reached Avery Silman, owner of Silman Ranch. I'm not available right now. If you're calling about an order, get in contact with Sanford Williard. He'll take care of you. Otherwise, leave a message, and I'll get back to you when I can.
Avery. You stubborn. Why aren't you picking up the phone or answering my text? I swear if you don't... Okay, look. I know how hard that had to be to hear. And I know you. You're stewing right now, running every scenario in your head, already deciding how this is gonna end. But it's over. It's done. I never meant for this to spiral like this, Avery. I thought it'd be simple. You talk to him, get some answers, and come home. But I underestimated him. I didn't think he was that dangerous. I was wrong. But I'm okay now, I promise. Lincoln's people are watching over me. Watching over your niece. Darren will never set foot in a Projectus building again. He won't touch me again. So stop, please, Avery. Just stop. I know you. I know what you're thinking, what you're about to do. But I'm begging you, don't take this any further. Yes, he put his hands on me. Yes, he crossed that line. But I survived. We survived. And I will not lose my only brother over this. Call me. Call me now. We found Jasmine. She's alive. And that has to be enough. Please, Avery, let this go. Let the universe deal with that son of a bitch, Darren Fontano.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ripping a Silverback episode number 65. I know we're late, and any relationship that Yasuke had in Assassin's Creed Shadows.
It's a good way to work that.
Very, very gay. Very, very gay. Alan Silverback, he's the rip. How you doing, Eric?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I'm grinding. Obviously, I've been up since fucking, I don't even know the time. Forever. But I'm feeling good. We just obviously showed off that Saoirse reveal, Saoirse cover reveal. Yesterday was Yaira 3, one of the covers for that. So yeah, we've been having some fun, man. And I appreciate everybody grabbing Ice on 3, Zaylin, and the Great War Separation number 2.
Nice. We got some stuff to go into from Ubisoft because things are not looking good. Can you believe that?
But 2 million players.
3 million.
3 million players. Excuse me. Let me correct myself.
3 million players. I mean, what they're playing exactly, not too sure. Not actually sure if it's Assassin's Creed or not. But, 3 million. But first, I just want to start off. R.I.P. Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer passed away
last night. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Pneumonia, apparently.
That's a rough way to go.
Yeah, pneumonia. And I just checked on his social medias. He was posting up until the 20-something of March, up until, just a couple of weeks ago. And it's just crazy how things go on. But obviously, I heard in terms of what it was like to work with. There seems to be a lot of information out there. Very difficult man to work with. In terms of anything. I mean, he left Batman to do the Saint, and that was meant to be the next. He's kind of like next big franchise, I guess. And you know, we heard about that. Apparently, it was an absolute nightmare on that. Isle of Dr. Moreau, the whole thing was a complete nightmare. Batman Forever heard things, you know. So apparently very difficult moment to man, but you cannot deny his talent, man. You cannot deny his talent. His body of work, Tombstone, Heat, you know, obviously Batman Forever, Saint. Just, you know, well, you know, The Doors, of course. He played Jim Morrison in The Doors. All kinds of stuff. His body of work was just phenomenal. And I've been doing some recording, the comedy recordings with EFAP. We're watching comedy movies. And it literally last 2 weeks ago, we watched Top Secret, where he plays Nick Rivers in Top Secret, which I hadn't seen for a long time. I do love Top Secret, but I hadn't seen it for a long time. And I was dying laughing during that recording. There's a section in the film, if you've seen it, that involves a cow. I'll leave it at that in case you haven't seen it. So when you do watch the EFAPs, you'll get it. I swear to God, I nearly died laughing. I was my stomach was absolutely killing me. I could barely breathe. I was laughing that hard. But yeah, and then of course he was in Top Gun. You know, probably best known for Top Gun as well, Iceman, and Top Gun 2, Electric Boogaloo, where they actually gave him a graceful exit.
Yeah,
yeah,
crazy. Man, that sucks. Saw last night as I was winding down. I saw that and I was like, man, that blows. Obviously, Tombstone to me is the go-to.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Can't go wrong with that. Batman, though, seen a lot of Batman posts because I follow a lot of comic book people. That's where definitely considering folks that are maybe floating around my age group. He might have been your, you know, when you were young, your live action sort of Batman. So, yeah, sucks, man. It was 65, right? Age
65, yeah, yeah. I mean, he got throat cancer back in 2014, which involved surgery, which kind of killed his acting career.
Yeah, that pretty much did it there.
Because he had to initially have a voice box to speak from, and then he managed to move away from that. But I think he was always still having issues with the throat and whatnot, which is a shame. Which kind of, I guess, made his appearance in Top Gun 2 a little bit, you know, all the more poignant, really. And that scene is going to hit a little bit harder.
Yeah, it's kind of mean multiple things now. So
yeah. So yeah, God, yeah. So sad news. It's weird though, because I had nightmares last night. All I had was nightmares. One of them which really kind of upset me because it wasn't something scary. It was just something that happened, which was just like heartbreaking. And I woke up today and I was kind of a bit off. You know how you wake up just a little bit off. And I turn on the internet, the webs, and you're sort of hoping to see something to just, you know, give you a bit of a giggle. That's the first thing that I saw today. I was kind of like,
fuck yeah. See, it would have been your morning time when you would have.
Yeah, because I went to bed straight after Real BBC last night because I've been up all day. I've been like up for like 24 hours. I had like 1 hour sleep in 24 hours. So I was just like, I got to get through Real BBC. I'm just going to hit the hay. And I literally went straight to bed, boom. Sleep during the night, brilliant. Let's get back on day schedule. And then turn on Tinterwebs and it's like, oh.
First thing you see. That's
yeah.
Sucks. By the way, shout out to the Nooner Raid.
Nooner Raid, yeah.
Speaking of Gary, big shout out to everybody that's probably heading over here now.
Yaha. So yeah, RIP Val Kilmer. Sad news. Because he was a hell of a talent.
Absolutely.
Speaking of talentless, though, moving away from talent to talentless.
The talentless.
What did you think of the Avengers Doomsday? Was the I mean, I think the Doomsday was watching the fucking reveal.
Well, we
of who's in it.
talked. We talked. Obviously, we were having our show during some of it,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, it did not end with Rachel Zegler as the final chair.
But I will say,
Disappointed.
I did not realize. I only found out after our stream that like I was trying to watch the reveal and I thought my stream was broken because I would put it on and it would just be a chair, but it would say live and it's just a chair. And I'm like, oh no, I think it's balked. And then I'd go back kind of down the stream and it'd have another chair and I'd be like, okay, so something was going on, but now it's stuck on his chair. I didn't realize they were showing off a chair for 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One way to get that engagement, man. Everybody just sitting there looking at chairs. But yeah, like I said, no Rachel Zegler towards the end. Really disappointed in that.
No,
but, I mean,
we don't always get what we want.
That's true. That's to be fair. Can't always have everything. And by the way, big shout out. Speaking of Rachel Zegler, I want to give a big shout out to our own Chuck Dixon here.
Oh yeah.
If you are not aware, I did a video on that yesterday, 2 days ago. Well, no, it's maybe the weekend. I don't remember. And a lot of people didn't know that For a Working Man, the movie out with Jason Statham right now, which just top box office and beat Snow White, is in this upset, which is what Hollywood Reporter called it. That was based on a novel that was written by our own Chuck Dixon.
Yeah.
The Levon's Trait. So go check that out if you haven't already. Big shout out. Chuck's been doing his little victory laps and he deserves it.
Number one in Iceland. I saw that tweet today. Made me laugh. I mean, it was number one in the US.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Yeah,
number one in Iceland.
Yeah, I saw number one in Iceland. Yeah, I did see that. That was funny. But yes, big shout out to Chuck. Congratulations, and no easy feat with probably a fraction of the budget. Though, yes, Jason Statham's he's gonna put some butts in the seats for a lot of people. It's a big deal. They call it a box office upset, and a lot of people that have gone and seen the film have said they've enjoyed it. So I wonder if this is going to spin off into some more movies based on this. There's plenty of material they have to work with, but yeah, it's been decently received. So big shout out Chuck Dixon. The only reason I bring that up is because we just talking about Rachel Zegler and our disappointment that she didn't get a chair on the Avengers.
Didn't get a chair, and Snow White didn't get any money. Even the mainstream media have turned on this and they're just like, actually, Snow White doesn't have a 2 million budget. It's got a 330 million budget.
Well, about time.
Because they now understand when it's not time to play silly beggars.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Yeah, they always are calculated. They wait until they really can't deny it anymore, and then they'll start echoing the sentiments that a lot of people that have already stated out there and put out there.
That's a 66% drop. I thought it was going to have like a 54% drop, and it was actually predicted at a 53% drop. So I was kind of like, look at me, aren't I fucking great? No, 66% drop. I didn't see that coming. I gotta say, I didn't see it coming. I mean, I'm so happy it did, because I think Disney can go fuck themselves in the mouth, and I think Rachel Zegler can shove her head up her own ass. An absolutely fucking disgusting company and a disgusting human being. And the funniest thing for me, though, is it's tanking horribly, and yet still remains in 4,200 theaters.
Oh,
bringing in,
and that's a good point. Yeah,
$300
per theater. Yeah, it's over. For it, it's.
I made more than that streaming today.
Yes, he did. But yeah, it's over for it. I don't think anybody's surprised. Look, it doesn't matter how we feel about it. I know there's a lot of you that watch the show, your parents as well. So if there was something that was going to be on your radar, maybe to have you, take your kids to go see, maybe little kinfolk, nieces, or whatever. Maybe this was on your radar. It didn't have any sort of legs whatsoever, which is it's what you need, right? You can only lean so much on the recognition. Not saying the actors, I'm more talking about the property. In a Snow White, you can only lean on that so much. And if it wasn't like going to be it didn't even need to be like a great movie. It didn't need to be in order for it to do pretty decently, but it did need to be halfway okay. And unfortunately, according to a lot of people's feedback that have gone and taking the children to see, it's just not something that's really something that they were interested in. So yeah, 66% drop obviously says enough about it, and it's over. Like, that was your chance. You spent a lot of money on this. And hopefully it is a lesson to everybody. I think Rachel Zegler, unfortunately, did blow this up. She had a lot to do with it. If you are one of those, there's people out there that are denying that which I think is being extremely disingenuous. Yes, there's people that are attributing other factors and instead of, and I'm not to say that that's the only factor, right? Because even if it, damn be Rachel Zegler, if this was just a phenomenal movie, maybe that can overcome that. But you got to admit that had something to do with it. I know the reporters, we read some articles on the show, they kind of talked around that. They even tried to share the blame with her and Gal, even though Gal wasn't even saying anything like controversial. They had, instead of like saying, well, yes, this is your lead actress, has said some interesting things that may have set this film up for let's say not a lot of success. Instead of just explicitly stating that and only stating that, they've tried to say that basically she's equally as controversial because Israel reasons or some shit regarding Gal Gadot, and that's a cope. Let's just be honest. If you're gonna blame it on an actress, it's hard not to blame Rachel Zegler and how just she killed basically any sort of enthusiasm that anybody had for this property with her words and just how she acted.
Oh, dude, I mean, just that aside, I would just like to see what it's like for anybody in Hollywood to speak out against Israel. See how that one works out for you.
Yeah.
You know, how do you think that's going to work out? You think it's going to work out good? It's going to work out good. I got a feeling it's not going to work out so good. I don't know. And apparently there's some rumors circulating, which I think are absolute bullshit, by the way, that Rachel Zegler might have grounds for
lawsuit or something,
pursuing Disney for apparently being blackballed. Well, number one, how the fuck do you ever prove that you've been blackballed? You can't.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing, and you're not
owed shit.
Yeah, but also she's not Gina Carano, like something a little more blatant and obvious. We and the receipts had all been collected on that one.
Yeah,
you haven't quite experienced something to that degree, but I have seen those reports. And look, it is America. You can sue anybody for any reason.
Sure.
It's kind of how it works. Doesn't mean you're gonna win, but you can sue anybody for just about any reason. So,
if Rachel Zegler's pushed to one side, do you think who do you think this lady is here? Hey, who do you think this lady is here?
Sydney Sweeney is a wild guess.
Yeah, do you like a bit of Sydney? I know you're a married man, but do you like a bit of Sydney?
I don't think I've seen a movie that she's acted in or a show, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Everything that I've seen on Sydney has been Twitter and ads.
You like though? Do you like
and it? What?
Do you like it though? What, kind of like
blonde women with breasts?
Yeah.
I can't say that's quite my thing. But
Okay,
the
well,
breast,
just as
yes. I
well,
mean, if
because
you've seen my wife,
that is
obviously.
nightmare fuel.
Well,
That
that's
is.
nightmare fuel right there, for sure. I don't want to see that, and please take it off the screen, if you don't mind. But I saw he shared that out himself, right? Like, what a
I
fucking
think, yeah.
idiot! A
Yeah.
fucking idiot, man, Jeremy, man. But yeah, that's I don't know, man. What an interesting cat.
Man. Jeremy's he's going through some changes, okay?
He's going through some changes
He's
in
going
this
through
day and
some
age.
he's
You can do that, I
transitioning
guess. Right?
to,
We were joking about him and well, really the entire panel last night on Tuesday night about this whole link casting for this new movie or whatever that they're coming out with. I think it's do they start filming in 2026 or is it coming out in 2026? I don't know. For
no
Zelda.
idea.
But joked about Ellen Page playing both Zelda and Link because why not?
Hold on. Why not? Probably because they would have killed themselves by then.
Is the Umbrella Academy, is that still a thing? Like, is there still, or is the Umbrella, what was the show that she
the Umbrella Academy. I think it's ended now.
Oh, okay.
I think it's had its 4th and final season. I don't think anyone watched it.
HBO, right? Was it?
Netflix, wasn't it?
Netflix. Okay. I don't know. I
think it's Netflix over here. I saw the first 2 seasons. I enjoyed the first season. Quite a good, it's good. Second season was fucking piss water. And I dropped. And I just did not give any shits about going back to see 3 or 4 at all.
Unfortunate, man. Shout out Ellen Page, shout out Elton John as well.
Shout out Elliot
on in the show
from E.T. of course. Phone home.
Yeah. Shout out Tim Sheridan.
Don't phone home. Phone Elton John and tell him to stop stigmatizing AIDS.
Exactly. That's what you actually need to do. Did you catch? Speaking of AIDS, which not so much.
It? Yeah,
well, did you catch the AIDS
now? Yeah, had it for a few years.
Well, they got the treatment, man. You can get rid of it. It's not the 80s anymore, like we're just killing off gay people. It's by the way, shout out what's his name for doing a fantastic job handling that pandemic. Yes, much like he handled
with his airborne AIDS.
Yeah, much like he handled COVID. Did a phenomenal job during the AIDS.
AIDS is an airborne virus. Okay.
During the AIDS crisis for sure. But did you get a chance? Because I know we probably should talk about, because I think there's been some interesting conversations happening, not necessarily surrounding the actual direct. But did you catch a bit this morning? Because I know you were streaming the Nintendo stuff.
I did not. I would stream for 10 hours. I started at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And I streamed through till 7.
Oh, man.
So 7 p.m. And I didn't even take a break to eat. And I got 1 cup of tea. But hey, shout out to Carolyn in the chat, Rippaverse employee.
Yeah.
When I left the stream, she'd gifted me on Steam Schedule 1, which is that sort of
drug dealing game.
Yeah. So we might get a Schedule 1 stream. Toot sweet.
Well, there you go.
But no, so 350 pounds or something for the Switch too.
Yeah, it's costing was almost $500, man, like USD. So that's what I want to talk about, because obviously there's some reveals. There's this Mario Kart. Everybody's talking about Donkey Kong. I don't like the redesign though. Look, I get it, but they've already come out swinging with Mario Kart $80, 80 USD. And I've made a post, and this has been a lot of conversation. I saw Razorfish chime in on it. Jeremy's chimed in on it. And that is basically games prices, right? Because I said in my post, I was like, y'all need to get ready for, in the near future at base, you're going to start to see video games, at least coming from major studios, not saying independent, Steam and all that stuff, but as the floor, which I think is always stupid. It used to not always be like this, especially with console games where everybody's charging the same damn amount for the most part. I think universal pricing is retarded either way it goes. But start to see it at base $100 games.
Yeah.
It's happening. It's gonna happen.
They want that for sure.
It's gonna happen. So be ready. And I'm not saying it's to black pill anybody. I'm just telling you. I think when I brought it up, I think people took it because I said, look, markets it's delayed because I thought this would have happened a lot earlier than now when you consider how much games cost. And two things can be true. Games budgets can be out of control. Shout out Ubisoft. While also the pricing hasn't adjusted that well as far as in comparison to how much games would cost way back in the gap, right? So that's what I mean when I said it's kind of delayed in terms of its market correction, because I think I maybe did a video a while back talking about I thought they were going to hit this $100 mark a lot earlier than what they already had. And I want people to be careful because there's a lot of people I know in our circle. You get those that trick themselves into believing that, well, these get to $100, nobody's going to pay for this. And I disagree with that. I'd love to get your thoughts. I think you're crazy if you believe that, me being completely honest, that people won't just be forking over. I don't know if you know how much money people are forking over on games right now. They're going to, whether you think it's better or not, because I don't think the games are going to get better. I don't think they're going to be well polished. If any more well polished than they were, costing $70 or $60 versus $100. But I think that you're not going to have the general market pushback. I know anybody is going to, like any general person maybe can say on the internet that I'm just not going to spend that money, which I don't doubt that there are going to be people that won't spend $100 on games. I just don't think that represents the majority at all. Like as far as definitely with their target audience, if you're into a lot of the mainstream, I think people are going to have maybe hold their nose for a couple of seconds. They're gonna pay $100 for these games, and it's gonna be the new standard. And I think I would love to get your thoughts, but I do think that this is inevitable. And it's 80 now. Looks like gonna be the new flip. These are for Switch games, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on base definitely with the other consoles, $100 games, we're only right around the corner for those.
Yeah, I've been gaming for a long time. I was gaming in the 80s on my BBC Model B computer, and then moved into Mega Drive. When I got my first console, it was a Mega Drive. I very vividly remember purchasing Street Fighter 2, and Jungle Storm. There was Desert Storm, Jungle Storm, and I think or Desert Strike. Sorry, was it Desert Strike? Then it was, and there was Urban. Anyway, one of those, Jungle Strike, and there was £60.
Yeah,
and that was early 90s. 60 quid for those Mega Drive games. And then the PlayStation came along, and games seemed to drop in price. And they seemed to fluctuate, but they would drop. That you could pick up a PlayStation game brand new for like 25 to 45. There would seem to be a bit of fluctuation, but there was plenty in between. Same with the when the other consoles were coming out, Saturn. I always the Nintendo 64 was always a bit higher. Again, Nintendo, I think, have always erred on the higher side. But then the Xbox comes in, and 360, PS2, stuff like that, and they seem to settle around about the £40-45 mark. It's got like £40 for a regular game, £45 for a big studio game. And it has just kind of like sat there, and then it's crept up a little bit in the PS4. You were starting getting your £50 games, and then you got your £55 games. Now you got your £60 and your £70 games that don't seem to be too bothered about pushing it to that degree. So this does not surprise me because they have spoken about this for donkey's years.
Oh yeah,
For
yeah, most
decades
definitely.
that I can remember.
And I can just to
on.
chime in just really quick because, like, and even if you consider even the more efficient studios, right? Like, because we all agree that these budgets are out of control.
Yeah,
they're fucking out of control, right? And that obviously harms them. But even if you're an indie developer, I mean, in comparison to, though you have a lot of different tools, still in comparison to like definitely you start working with teams, dev costs have not got cheaper, right? They have not gotten cheaper. That's why I keep saying that two things can be true. Those two things are equally true, right? That dev costs hasn't gone down, budgets are out of control by a lot of these mainstream studios, and they do themselves in. But yeah, I remember even like some of Sega games, right? Those were up there in price, and definitely when you start accounting for inflation, you're actually paying more back then than what you're paying for right now. And again, it wasn't. It's. I'm not justifying it. I'm just giving you the statistical reality. And Baz brings up a great point. They had been talking about this for a very long time about where the base prices were in games and essentially just not really being where it should be. So I think especially becomes a easier pill to swallow for a lot of people. Not to say that Nintendo fans are like they're just going to consume. I'm not saying that, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea.
But I will then. Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
I wouldn't go that far, but
I would. And yes,
well, one person on the show will go that far, but I wouldn't go so far. But I will say that because of Nintendo and their reputation and their fan base, them being the ones to really set the tone going into this, even though it's a Switch game, it's hard to call it a next generation or Switch device, right? It's not like they're packing the best possible tech into this handheld or console or whatever you want to call it, because it can be docked. That said, them setting the tone, especially with I believe they just set the tone for the rest of the industry, right? And that they're for Switch games, they're going to be charging you $80. Some stuff that probably you're not going to get the frames, you're not going to get the type of graphics that people expect in the modern day, which is okay. I'm not saying that you should be trying to go for this hyper realism or whatever as far as your art style, but if other studios are looking at that and say, well, if they could charge 80, it's easy for us to justify paying or charging people $100 even more. But like I said, I think it was more of a delayed reaction with the market, because they had been talking about this for years. So I'm not at all surprised, and I think we're gonna get closer. I don't think Grand Theft Auto, as an example, is going to be $80. I think Grand Theft Auto is going to be $100+ minimum.
When I recently purchased Avowed, I think that set me back £65, which was an insane price for that game. And that game tanked massively. True. And has probably lost itself a lot of money. Oh well, that's life, I guess. But yeah, 65 quid I think it was for that, and I'm just like, I can justify it obviously as a streamer, because I can I'm going to stream it. B, it's a cost of business, so it can go through.
Yeah, it's easy money. You're gonna get that probably day one from the super chats. The money's made. It's easy to go. So
you're not sort of pearl clutching on that one. But I think people are going to get. I do think people are. If the whole industry does this, I think people are going to start to get a little bit more selective with what games they do pick up. And I
don't think independent studios are going to be able to justify charging that at all. But
independent studios will not charge that.
But I do think that, I'm looking at how much. I don't know. There was a report that came out not too long ago, guys, and I get it. Mobile gaming and games with these microtransactions aren't the same. These guys are making so much fucking money in microtransactions on these games that I believe that the average person at this point is now almost conditioned. I'm not saying you or you at me or you as or anybody in this chat, this is always key when you're looking at markets. You got to think beyond what your independent actions are going to be, right? And that's the trick. It's like when I look at it from that perspective, I'm seeing how much money people are spending already on games. Even if you look at a single player game, what game is coming out even so right now, as even in the like big studio games, their base version might be 60, 65 bucks, but they always have some addition that's going to push it to 100. Each one of them. It's going to be the deluxe edition, get it 4 days early and a skin and all this bullshit. People are already wired right now, whether they know it or not in some capacity, and have been in some ways, to be paying more that much already. So I already think that they have their justification. I just believe that with like certain like with the industry, because Nintendo is such a powerhouse with them and their type of games that they make on the console that they make it on, I believe they just set the tone. And good luck seeing anybody start with these future games charging less than 80 bucks, because Nintendo just said we can do it and we're gonna do it, and you're gonna like it. You're gonna like it.
It will alienate
reality.
some people, though. It legitimately will alienate, because there are people, and I don't say this flippantly, because $40 is a lot of money, but there are people who would be willing to take a punt on a $40 game, £40 game, £45 game, and if you make that 80, and there's going to be people who are not willing to take a punt on that. They'll sit back. They'll do exactly what the industry doesn't want you to do. They'll sit back and wait.
I think more people should be doing that anyway. I think that
I do.
There's certain, like, I get it, depending on your career. Like, again, in Az's case, it's going to make a lot more sense for him financially to be invested in the game at launch versus on the back end. But I think, that FOMO or whatever, and being part of the conversation is underestimated. I think, and I've made this case for a while, like even with microtransactions, right? Like as people have been talking about legality of it all, I was like, guys need to get control of their fucking impulses, right? Like you don't have to buy a game at launch. And that could just like you don't have to buy a fucking micro. Like you don't have to do that, because you know that eventually it's going to be on sale at some point. I think more people should, but it's not about what they should do, it's what they will do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the better question, is like, how confident are we that people are going to be like, yeah, I will, instead of being part of the conversation for this big game that major studio made, I would just wait. I'll watch other people play it if I'm interested in the story and but I just don't know, man. The way I'm looking at people's buying habits, at least in games, I'm not applying this to everything else. I think in games, I don't know. I quite think that, I do think with any, I don't know what that number is. It's hard to see, but I do think with anything, something becomes the price becomes too high, that people at least start to reconsider. It's not an automatic buy, right? With anything, it doesn't matter what you're selling. But comic books doesn't sell. Well, doesn't matter.
There is plenty of stuff which you would say was an automatic buy, and let's say 15 years ago.
Agreed. Things have
Nowadays,
it's a fantastic point. There are no guarantees anymore in that regard. But when you're dealing with industry standards, which gaming has been one of those that have benefited so much from there being an industry standard, especially when they started to move, at least in the console scene, to just really universal pricing, whether it was $49.99 to $59.99. You get your I guess outliers, but for the most part, everybody's targeting, no matter how much they spent, which is stupid to me. Get dumb. Just looking at it from a business perspective, I always thought that was fucking retarded. Same thing. I think about that in comics. Like every comic doesn't cost the same to make, so why are you trying to charge the same? And that's why most of y'all are pissy broke in the first place, because you're not pricing your shit correctly, because you're just looking at what everybody else is spending. So I think universal pricing is retarded. That said, when you set that $80 standard, man, and looking at where inflation is going, I just think that there's going to be a lot of cats that are going to be like, it sucks, just like they were when it moved to $70. People are still, games ain't making less money. The big budgets. I get it, right? You're gonna have your failures. You're gonna have your Star Wars Outlaws or whatever the hell. I don't remember the name of the game. You're gonna have
tested ugly Minga.
You're gonna have those games.
Boring shit.
You're gonna have those games for sure. But on average, I'm not so willing to say without a doubt, like, yeah, people are gonna see the price go up and they're gonna like not pay it.
Oh, things like you would think Star Wars open world game probably do quite well. Well, there is something which really gets in the way of that. Number one, Star Wars is fucking done now. And number two, it's a Ubisoft game. Ubisoft do not have the reputation that they used to have. It's in the shitter. And it's been in the shitter for a lot of years. All this stuff which is happening now is not in the least bit surprising.
Yeah.
It's been coming. It's there. It's right here, right now. And this is a chickens coming home to roost moment. And the whole of like Eves and the Tencent business is laughable because you think, oh, great, now the CCP have 25% share of Ubisoft, Western Gaming Company, blah, blah, blah. And right now I'm thinking that's the best 25% of the company's Tencent right now. The devil in gaming, Tencent and
right.
Yeah, the other one. But he's just like, no, because Yves Guillemot at any point could have changed the fucking direction of Ubisoft. And he didn't.
Yeah, true.
He signed off on all of this shit. All of this shit from the fucking cookie cutter games to the fucking horrendous microtransactions to the nickel and diming of customers to the just stagnate evolution in gameplay and direction. And just because you're a big studio doesn't necessarily mean in today's day and age you are putting out AAA quality, because you're not. To me, Ubisoft is putting out fucking 1A quality at best. And you could see this coming with Assassin's Creed. You could see this coming with Star Wars Outlaws. You can see, Far Cry's died a fucking death comparative to how popular it got in the mid-teens. Because all they do is they just repeat the same thing, and all they do is look where to fuck customers up the ass with microtransactions. They want the full price of a console game, PC game, and they want all the benefits of mobile phone microtransactions. They want the best of both fucking worlds, and so they're creating AAA games essentially to operate like mobile phone games. Rinse, repeat. Clue in for a bit of time so you can get your little rewards. Come back the next day, though, because we'll gate you. So you can then come back for your rewards the next day. But you got to come back all 7 days, because if you do the 7-day reward system, you get this. They are literally fucking teaching people in segments how to play their fucking games. And the gamers don't like that, and gamers don't fucking want that. And that's why companies like Ubisoft have fallen by the fucking wayside. And that's why games like the Assassin's Creed franchise and the Far Cry franchise and this Star Wars Outlaws game, that's why they fucking failed miserably.
Right, yeah.
And so yeah, if you are, GTA 6 will come out, and if GTA 6 comes out and it's $100, I'll tell you one thing about GTA 6: that will be a game that is worth $100. In as much as there will be so much to fucking do.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of content.
Nowhere to go. So much fucking probably fun to play. Plus, they'll stick on the probably the next generation of GTA Online. There'll be all kinds of stuff that people can do. So at least there's a justification that you are getting what that price dollar will be. What the problem's going to be is everybody that follows suit with a game that doesn't in any capacity deserve that price tag. And everyone will, and the big studios will do it, One of the reasons why, like I said, I think Avowed failed miserably is they priced themselves completely out of the market. If they said, look, here's a fun little RPG. It's not. It's got fun elements. But if they just said, hey, this is a fun little RPG, 30 quid, people could have been like, okay. Okay.
I mean, I guess that is it's a good point. That said, though, I feel as if that's not necessarily a new phenomenon, in that you can make the argument that a lot of these games, even at whatever the price floor is now, which is the new one is $60 or 70 USD.
Yeah.
It's hard to make the case for many games that people still buy that those games are worth that price of admission.
Well, what is one? Name
I mean, maybe that's more of the test. That's more of the test, right? Is trying to find, but again, that point, that's why I'm saying it's not. Once again, going back to my point, universal pricing is fucking retarded. It shouldn't exist, because games don't cost all the same to make. So I totally empathize with that, and I understand that. Again, I still wonder though, looking at how some of these games look. It's like EA, right? EA is notorious for basically, I mean, they're gonna get everything they can out of you. With a lot of their main games. Maybe not so much their little single player stuff, but like the FIFA, the sports stuff, especially the FIFAs, the which I guess Madden, throw Madden in there.
Franchises.
Those, yeah. And that people are gonna you're charging again for what is a glorified, maybe some glorified title update, right? Because there's no way you can have these major upgrades in just a year's time. Totally correct.
No, they're often roster changes and superficial changes in
it's never worth that. People still spend money on it, and I think that's what they're looking at just as much as their bottom line is how far can they take it to where the customer will tolerate it. And I just think that threshold I don't think we've reached it yet. I think in theory, nobody wants to pay more for anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what the item is. It doesn't matter if it's justified or not. If you increase the price on anything, definitely something that you were known for releasing, like it's not a new product, for sure, people are you're gonna hear it from them, right? And then, a year goes by and then nobody's talking about it anymore because the new standard got set. And then everybody's like, well, this is just how it is. So that's the way that an executive, now you can argue that maybe that's too corporate, whatever. That's just the way that they look at it. And that's the question that you have to ask yourself when looking at the price of these video games. Is it worth it? And I could sit up here and say, and it's easy for me to say, and I've done this with several games that I've not played at launch. I'm not buying, to me, to be fair, I'm not buying as many games as I had been before. I don't feel a need to. And would it be great that other people kind of looked at the economics of gaming the same way? Yeah. But also, I can't sit up here and ignore how much money people are spending on these damn games, including the annual ones. Right now, damn, the price change. Well, you got a slight increase at 70. It didn't stop y'all from buying any of this shit. Like, not now, it just didn't. We can sit up here and talk all the way through a blue in the face. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. Because I wouldn't. I tell you straight up, like, I ain't got no problem telling you that. Look, you can price me out, right? Because I don't feel like I need to get it. Like, but those in that position, whether it be for whatever reason that is, favorite franchise, they like the IP, FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. The friends are getting it and they want to be part of the conversation. All that factors in to why a studio would charge you more or publisher would charge you more than what they charged you in the past. And I just don't think that people, I think we're kidding ourselves, and we've seen this in other things, but especially with gaming, it's a unique thing. People will hold their nose a lot more with it, which is why it was especially with retarded that you see people, as far as publishers or companies or developers, shitting on their audience, right? As if they aren't paying customers, because that's one quick way, right, to say, all right, fuck you. Like I won't pay money. You're spitting in my face. I'm not gonna pay money for it. But you look at these annual games, and you think about it with Nintendo. Look at all the properties because that's what you're buying, is it not? You're buying nobody's buying for the most part on a Nintendo console, buying third-party fucking games. Like somebody is, if that's their system of choice. But no, you're getting it for Mario. You're getting it for Zelda.
Yeah,
you're getting it for all of that. Those are the games that people are generally buying. You can't get them anywhere else. You're not going to be able to get them anywhere else. People are gonna spend the fucking money. They're gonna spend it. Like I can say, well, I don't think it's worth it. It doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter how you feel in the chat. Unfortunately, it's in general. Population, the gaming population, are they gonna spend? This is a fucking looking at the hardware. You want to talk about nickel and diming? This is almost a $500. Has anybody looked at? If you looked at the specs on this damn thing, at least as far as what we know. That's not a $500 fucking system. It's not even anything close to a $500 system. People y'all not gonna buy the Switch after all the success that the first Switch had? 1080 fucking p. They say that you're gonna be able. I don't even believe that, by the way. They say you're gonna be able to get 120 fucking frames. Bullshit. I'm calling BS on that right off the rip. That is not a $500 system. People are gonna spend it, and that in itself shows that it's the conversation is much bigger than simply nickel and diming your audience or how much people are willing to spend. It's all of that coupled together. And when I look at it in that context, I think they're gonna push the boundaries as much as they can. And I think it's going to be $100 minimum on some of these games that are about to start coming out. That's going to be the new floor. It's going to be $100, and I'm just not so sure that the market itself is going to hold out and make them pay for it. And I'm not saying that as a black pill. I'm just reality.
No, I get it. Because the games have been at such a similar price for so long, that's kind of like the market where the gamer goes.
Right.
You try and push it past the nth degree. And there is going to be a response. I think Nintendo kind of, I think the best phrase to use is get away with it. Because they do have such a rabid fan base. Nintendo is kind of like one of those companies that have like the Apple people, you know what I mean? It's got such a kind of like loyal fan base behind it.
Fair.
That they can probably get away with a lot more. And Nintendo don't take shit, and they don't, bow down and all this kind of stuff. And the stuff, things like that can be pretty refreshing and make people want to support a studio. But it's the studios that are going to stick the $100 plus price tag on. Then they're going to add on all the microtransactions on top of it still. And you don't want to talk about legislation of the gaming industry or stuff like that. And at the same time, you're like, there's got to be something to come along to say, look, if you are going to put microtransactions in your video game, then your base price cannot be more than X amount, or something along those kind of lines. Because you'll know that even when GTA 6 comes out, and if they stick the $100 plus price tag on it, you know that it will be it'll be worth it for the base game most likely, but it'll be chock full of microtransactions left, right, and center, because it's now about the monetization on and on. A game that is worth $80, Wukong. It's worth $70. Sorry. It's worth $70 because it's a full, complete game. No microtransactions. Boom. Done. Dusted. And things, because of Ubisoft, and we'll get to other stuff about Ubisoft, they've killed their own company. It wouldn't matter how much they put on the price of games. They've already killed their own company with how bad their games are. So you can price it at whatever you want. But if you're coming from a studio that it's producing this kind of annual shit, I think they're going to start pricing themselves out of the market. And suddenly it maybe isn't that necessary to have the latest fucking Madden or the latest PGA or NBA,
Right.
whatever it is. Maybe I'll dip out this year. Maybe I'll dip out for a couple of years. Maybe I'll dip out for 3. And that's what happened with me when it kind of came to COD. I was just like sick of these just coming out every fucking year for what? So we can refresh the fucking guns? Is the gameplay getting any better? No. Is this getting any better? No. So I was like, fuck it. I'll pick it up once every 5 years. Maybe.
I'm interested to see. I just don't know. For me, I just think that's going to be the new floor, and I just don't. I'm not so sure that it's that new standard is going to cause people to. I don't know. Cause people to like say they're for sure not going to do it. I do believe that if the market had any sense, this adjustment would have happened a long time ago. I'm not talking about the price. I'm just saying in how people look at buying games. You know what I mean? I think that, and I say this as a business owner and looking at even our own customer habits, adjusting where you have more people, as an example, are buying our books. I think in like 2 weeks. Yes, 2 weeks. Great War separation. I think within 2 weeks of the pre-order window closing, it had sold over 1,000 books, which had shows, doesn't happen. I'm not to say obviously we sell a lot of books after the fact, but that wasn't previously the standard where you would get a lot of people getting it basically when it's officially released per se. As you, at least not in comparison to our previous releases, right? I think with our sped up like volume, things, customer habits and buyer habits change. Gaming is interesting in the sense that a lot of the even though it's you think gaming would be the one that you didn't have to do this with, but I think the rise of social media has kind of ruined this for a lot of people, where the experience used to be what it was all about, right? So even if you played it a month after release, it was like whatever, but now it's so everybody wants to be a part of the conversation. So I guess how confident are we that people are willing to forego that and instead say, fuck it. I will wait. I will fucking wait till this damn game comes up on sale. But at 80, do you think Nintendo's gonna have that problem? As far as people saying, I'll wait. Because they don't ever lower the price of that fucking game. What does Nintendo do that?
Rarely.
That's what I'm saying.
But they won't. I mean, the others will go lower, but your Marios and your Zeldas and your Kongs, anything kind of IP branded Nintendo likely won't. That will likely hold its price, hold its course. But the third party that go on there, they will inevitably go down. Or we'll see another resurgence in the second-hand market again.
We'll see, man. I just
remember the more that you move to digital, the more control you have over the product, the more control you have over the price.
That's a good, which benefits them though. That benefits them more than anything. Like, and this is the one critical error that I think PC gaming made.
benefits the customer. Physical benefits the customer.
And this is what PC gaming, and which is kind of crazy, man, as independent as it is, how how it went so much towards like basically it's exclusively digital now, versus console. This is why a lot of people prefer in a lot of cases getting console, because they're into more of the physical stuff. But how because it's still like you're putting it in and it has to update and shit. Some of these games you still can't even fucking play if it's not connected to the internet, which is it's almost the same even if you have a disc, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, moving to a more digital format is more convenient. But I think and this is actually a great conversation that we're kind of segueing into. I do think as prices increase, publishers aren't on their shit. You start to realize how maybe they did themselves in, or we as customers did ourselves in by preferring this method. I mean, we've already seen how this impacts like movies, especially old ones, and like the censorship issue of and why it's so important to have those physical copies because so we've already seen it in that capacity. But it is interesting, or it will be interesting to see, talking about coupling different things, the pricing structures being adjusted with the continuing always online nature and the adjustments that these games companies are making, even on not even talking about multiplayer game, on single player games. I don't know, bro. Things are going to get interesting nonetheless. But yeah, they have more control. They have more. It empowered them. It made it more convenient for us as customers, but it empowered for sure the developers and the publishers far more, going to a more digital format. And I would love to see, which I don't think you'll ever see, because I think it's too far gone, a physical resurgence in really in all things. I mean, comics has been one of those ones where it's interesting that the digital comics still aren't able to sell anywhere near, and at least not in America, anywhere near to what the physical ones sell for. The market
That's
is
very
just,
logical, though. That is a very logical.
well, with that, it's true with that particular market, absolutely. But I would love to see that just in general.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my physical games, collection going on. Goes back old school. It's what we like. Comics in itself is its own fucking thing.
Right.
You need the physical copy because you're a collector, so you want the physical copy. There's no value in digital comics, zero value. Whereas the physical copy has physical value. Then you got the whole process of the reading, the bagging, the boarding, the collective element of it. So there's an ethos there that's going on when it comes to comic collecting. Other things, not so much. Digital movies, digital TV, digital games. People are more inclined to do that. People are more inclined not to have that physical element to it. But of course, the lower the less control you have over that, the more control they have, and you see what they're doing with TVs and films now in terms of the censorship, like you've mentioned. Censorship comes in, trigger warnings being put on, all this kind of stuff which just didn't have to be there before. So to get a resurgence in physical video games, I don't think that is happening. That is not in a digital age now. That is not going to happen. If anything, they'll try and completely phase out physical copies, and some companies even doing that. Some recent games, digital only, no physical copies coming out. So yeah, that's right. But I want to go through a couple of these. Speaking of physical copies, here's apparently the physical copy sale of Assassin's Creed on the PlayStation 5, which is 17,701.
Wow. Come on, man. Like,
yeah. Monster Hunter Wilds, which didn't come out too much before then, it's only been out since end of February.
Did they announce sales for that? Like actual sales recently?
I'll check. I can check.
I feel like the publishers brought that up. Maybe the chat can correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it's doing well. I think it's doing very
Like
well.
extremely well.
Yeah. But even on here, PS5 physical sales in Japan 763,000. You know, so even the physical copies there doing well. Super Mario Party here, 1.2 million on the Switch, of course. But these are both PS5. Monster Hunter Wilds is PS5, so that's why
Capcom announced, by the way, we mentioned it, 10 million units sold for Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, well,
see, those were the numbers that they needed Assassin's Creed to do. I don't know who believes that they're getting anywhere near that 10 million mark, bro.
Who, Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
Oh, no. They've got 3 million players. They can't even tell us how many sales there are.
Yeah.
And as we, we've already had the discussion about what they need, and to make the money back, it's got to be somewhere in the region of 5 to 7 million. Got to be. They were looking for 10 plus million copies in the first month. They had to. They thought they were going to go down that avenue. I thought they were lunatics. I said, was it? I think it's 3 to 4. I think I said.
Yeah, we talked about that. Like we like 4 to 5. Yeah, million.
Yeah, million units. That's what I think they'll do in the first month. I think I said that's what they'll do in the first month. They ain't doing anywhere close. They ain't gonna do anywhere close in the first month. But I mean, that's a small part of the market. But it's just the reason why I wanted to show this is because Ubisoft didn't think that it would have an effect on sales in Japan. Well, guess what? It had a fucking colossal effect. And I believe isn't the Prime Minister of Japan actually trying to get it potentially banned?
There's been talks of it, obviously. Hideyuki Kata, who even commented on my video about this subject matter. Shout out. Yeah, it's interesting, to say the least. That it's having its cultural backlash for sure, and it was always going to have that. It was
and rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, it was. They did kind of sneak patch the whole shrine issue, so they at least got that up out of there. But yeah, it was always set up for failure. The whole narrative, just approach and trying to find the one black person in Japan and then make them that existed in feudal Japan.
But again, the whole shrine thing showed that they just were not doing their research in the slightest. And they weren't doing the research because they didn't give a shit. All they wanted was somebody to stick the dick in Yasuke's ass. That's all they wanted to do. That's the whole fucking game. This is the fucking Western gaming industry. Let's start off with the gay love scenes and then try and build a game.
Work backwards. Yep.
That's it. That's where we are now. And so, yeah, you kind of things like when you're dealing with another culture, just all right, put it this way. Hey, Eric, put it this way, right? Let's just say the Assassin's Creed game was in the heart of Africa, right? A tribal Assassin's Creed game. Fuck me, they'd be doing as much research as they possibly could.
It's going to be accurate to a T.
Yeah.
To a T. Which would have been cool, by the way. And I'm not talking about like Egypt or anything. Like if they would have did some like
no, we're talking tribe.
Yeah, like tribal
Zulu tribe.
That would have Zulu. That would have been fucking. That's your move. That's your move, man. I mean, it doesn't require you to emphasize even. And guess what? You know what? Who wouldn't bitch about diversity? Imagine if they made that game and there's not a white person in fucking sight on that game. Nobody's bitching. Nobody's griping.
They make sure the bad guys are white.
What? Unfortunately, but seriously, like all in all, if they did make it exclusively black, nobody's complaining.
No. Because it would make sense.
It would make sense, exactly, in that setting. It'll make all the sense in the world. And it'll be fine. Nobody's tripping. But they went this route, and this is what I was trying to explain in my video, right? This is and we've talked about it on the show a bunch of times, as this is typical Western developers or Western, like the Western culture trying to force their way upon Eastern culture.
Yeah.
And they used Eastern culture as their vehicle for whatever Western bullshit that they wanted to implement in this game. So it wasn't made by Japanese people. This was made by fucking French Canadians.
French crackers.
About as white as I don't know what.
Yeah.
Is who made it, right? And it was about them. It wasn't about, it had nothing to do with honoring anything that the Japanese culture, even if they are being a little loose in its adaptation, which again, other games have done that. So that in itself is not the issue, where you're not just so historically just accurate. It would have still been fine if they would have had their freedom, the creative freedom to do some interesting things. But and this is the disingenuous part, when you have people that look at us talking about this, they act as if, they don't want us to look at this in context, cultural context, especially. You think this was an authentic thing that Yasuke was put as a centerpiece for this game? You think that was just some fucking...
we both know exactly what.
Exactly. And they're trying to pretend like that's not a thing.
Dude, you like we said, right, as soon as they announced that it could be feudal Japan, they ran immediately to the internet to research, was there any black people in Japan?
That's where they started.
The first thing they fucking did.
Yes.
We know that. We know
exactly
that because that's how these fucking weirdos operate. And they had a fucking slam dunk with this game. Not just because you put it in feudal Japan, a setting that people have been requesting for donkey's years with Assassin's Creed. Not just that you were setting it there. You put like I said, a male protagonist, female protagonist. Nobody bats a fucking eyelid whatsoever. But you had also the colossal success of Ghost of Tsushima, showing that if you do it right, boom, this is gonna be a big game. This is gonna be a big seller.
Big market for you. You had that they did the market research for you.
Yes.
Right? It's already done for you. This is gonna work.
And for you. Never mind the fucking market research. They made the game for you.
That's a good point.
And they can't help themselves. These fucking weirdos, these fucking libtard, fucking far left, fucking absolute window licking. We're broken. Oh my God, I'm burning my fucking Tesla. All these fucking absolute loony freaks can't help themselves. And they ended up, and the funny thing was, you saw how they tried to moralize to Japan. And they got the find out on the fuck around. That's what they got. Japan gave them the find out.
Yeah, Japan told them to go fuck themselves.
Because they thought they could fucking moralize to Japan for being not diverse enough. So things like the shrine business, although they managed to quickly program it, make some changes that you can't destroy the things in the shrines. The distinct lack of detail. One thing, by the way, which Ghost of Tsushima had in spades was detail, attention to detail. The complete and utter lack of detail with things like the shrines, with things like the flags, with things like the people, with things like the relationship, Yasuke and Noe's fucking sister, not Noe's sister, Thingamajig's sister, who was known as one of the most faithful women and whose bloodline still continues to this very day. Nah, let's get Yasuke to fuck her, inserting himself into the bloodline, which in itself is a little bit fucking insulting to interject yourself into a bloodline, or he can take it up the fucking ass by two dudes instead.
Those are your options.
So, I mean,
great options there.
I'm just wondering, is there the person, and we know the answer is no, but is there the person that sat in the room just goes, guys, can we just have a little think about this? Or just go like, guys, here's the deal if we do this, okay? And they're like, yeah, you do realize that you're doing, and they go, yeah, we know. Yeah, we know. Yeah, never mind Ninja Gaiden. It's Ninja Gaiden.
I don't. Well, that shows that, especially with these big companies, it's rooted, man. It's rotten to the core. It's not. They don't have the dissenting voice that's like reasonable that says, because if they did, this doesn't even make it beyond the concept phase. It's not a game you even entertain. As soon as someone said like, "Hey, yeah, we're doing this on Feudal Japan," like, "Oh, okay, cool. All right, we'll try to have some Japanese history kind of intertwined. Oh, but we're gonna use Yasuke as the main player." That in itself, anybody that's worth a damn that's in that studio is like, that's not gonna land well. We could even put him in there as a side character on a side mission or something, right? And that'll probably work a lot better. But if we're gonna center our game around this guy, considering the current climate, this is the dumbest fucking shit ever. They did not have that voice whatsoever, or they were powerless, whichever one.
You could have had a perfect stealth mission for Yasuke. You could have had him in probably a non-combat stealth mission that he has to get through enemy lines without being detected to either deliver the message or to do something. So you could have still filtered him into the story in some capacity if you were so inclined to do so. Not that there needed to be a game that would revolve around the one guy that was in fucking, the one black guy that was in fucking feudal Japan for 18 months, and that was it. And that was his contribution as a sword bearer, as a fucking curiosity, as nothing more. Now we have this fucking absolute nonsense that's around it. Slam dunk. But you know where the responsibility of all that lay? Yves Guillemot.
Yeah, true. No way around that.
He could have annexed this at any fucking stage. Because certainly everything has to go through him, through his approval. So this is the guy that was just like, we are absolutely okay with all of this. We're okay with the utter disrespect that we show to Japan. We're okay with this revisionist history. We're okay with attacking our customers, calling them uneducated, calling them racist. And then when we actually discover that we're the ones who are wrong, then we go, well, you know, we've never been the most historically accurate. We've always had a license with that sort of thing. And then they just change, they flip reverse. Again, showing they don't care.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, sorry, we were actually unaware of this. We thought that this research went da-da-da. Same with Shippy and Rings of Power. They got rid of him. What did they do? They got some fucking absolute Looney bin far leftist weirdo fucking Tolkien fucking expert. Yeah, Tolkien was massively into the LGBTQ.
Oh my God. They kill me with that shit. It's like, again, they start from the ideological end. That's where they're at. Like, they're like, okay, we want this gay, or we want this, and we want this. All right, now we got to try to make it make sense. It's not anything that's voluntarily, naturally arrived. It's always, that's the starting point, and everything else needs to work back from that. I'm willing to bet that was Yasuke's addition in regards to this game. We found our protagonist. One black guy that we found in feudal Japan when we did our surface level research. Now we do everything and we work backwards. And it's like, yeah, if you set yourself up for failure, often you're gonna get it. That's just how it works. But I am more intrigued from the business perspective. Everybody type business in the chat. I'm more intrigued from the business perspective that how does nobody, not one fucking person says, guys, maybe we don't do that. Maybe we just keep it safe and simple.
Wow, that sounds like something which would probably appeal to much more people. But the thing is, though, right, even if you got these options, not that you necessarily have to have them in fucking everything, because they are in everything now. But okay, you've got these options as regards to your sexuality. But when you're playing around with historical figures, that comes to become very blurred. For a start, was Yasuke gay? No, Yasuke was not gay. Was the guy one of the guy that is fucking gay? No, the guy is another historical guy, and he was not gay either. So when you start doing like stuff like that, in itself, you're actually being very disrespectful to these people.
For sure.
You're being very disrespectful to them. You're being very disrespectful to their heritage and lineage and families, right? But again, they don't care, right? So yes, there is a huge conversation to be had about. Do you know what? Maybe not always. Maybe if we don't have a historical figure, then sure, we can give people the option. So you can do things like that. But when you're just doing it all the fucking time, and the manner in which they do it all the fucking time,
that's the important context.
And it isn't just that, is that they put it in, and they don't just put it in and leave it. And so a player, maybe a person who's playing the game, is gay, has, is a homosexual, and then they find out, oh, I can actually have a relationship with this guy. Okay, I'll do that. No, they put it into the game, and then they go straight to the fucking.
We watched that video.
Ladies,
it was full,
wrong one.
full scissor,
Ladies.
bro. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, our brand new game has all of the gays just for you. Yes, you can bang everybody of the same sex. We put this in the game. We're not coming out on our megaphones for no reason. We're coming out because we want to make sure that you know that we are allies and we are great people. And we tell each other that every day that we go into the office, that we are that good. We are that amazing. We are that tolerant. And we are that inclusive. This is completely put in for us and only us, not for you. This is simply to validate our own existence and to signal to our echo chamber that we are the greatest people ever. Thank you. Thank you. Gays, this is for you. That's why it goes in, to signal to themselves for no other reason.
Not wrong. Like I said, it's baffling to me, but
Pity
3 million players.
Ridley said it's insulting to gays. Pity Diddley, that is the least of their fucking thing on their mind, because they insulted a whole fucking nation of Japan. So you think they give a shit about black people or gay people? They don't give a flying fuck about black people or gay people. All of this is complete and utter signaling that they would now go to the nth degree to fuck off a whole nation without giving shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive to somehow piss off an entire nation, or at least a significant portion of it. So yeah, cheers to that. Because who would have thought that was even possible? But yeah, they got quite the backlash. It's just, and it was even like, I noticed this with my video and looking at some of the responses. It was even hard to because again, it's easy for us because we're in the West.
Yeah.
And so we see how this has impacted us and rotted everything to the absolute fucking core. We all see that. But, if you're not around that and it's not necessarily part of your culture, it can be very difficult to verbalize. It's fucked up, right? This whole shit is fucked up. But it can be difficult to verbalize why and how it's so fucked up from their perspective, because this is Western ideology being forced upon, or rather levied at, Eastern. And it's not their problem. This is our problem. It's something that is unique to us, and that they're trying to push there. Hell, you even got with US AIDS, they're trying to pay other people, pay other fucking folks in other countries to produce this type of ideology. So if they're not around that, it's hard for them to verbalize it. It's hard for them to even understand it. But they know that they know that it's fucked up. What is this? And you're expecting us to get behind this for what? And yeah, man, we know
we're showing your culture.
Yeah. through the Western lens. That's for fucking sure. It just blows my mind. It really does. And I do see, and look, I don't know what it's selling. I have no idea because they won't tell us. So I don't know. I just know it's 3 million players, and players don't sound like sales to me. Am I stupid?
No, players aren't sales because the sales, they say sales because it's a business. Okay. And who do you want to signal when you've got shareholders? You want to signal to the shareholders.
Yeah.
So you'd say 3 million sales, but they say players because it ain't 3 million sales.
So we got 3 million players. And even then, even if it was 3 million sales,
still not great.
Yeah, I was just about to say that it's still not for what they needed this to do. And I can't remember if it was the show before last or the last one where we went through that video game analyst, in which he was, talking about this was the monumental success that they needed from it, right? And that's why they're using a certain language that they're using and like that. But you, of course, have people, I'm sure you've had folks responding to you and your mentions. I know I've had them. I'll shut up. It's been a success. 3 million. You guys lost. And it's like, for me, bro, it's not even about winning or losing. I'm just calling fucking strikes here. Like, it's just, I'm just calling for exactly what it is. And even then, you're not even being honest with how you're analyzing this information. It's data. It's not sales. And if it was, tell us, motherfucker. Like, just come out and flat out say it. But ain't much we could do with 3 million players. What the fuck does that mean?
Well, I had a guy message me on, respond to one of my tweets about it, calling it a failure. And he said, well, it isn't a great game. It's not, it's not much game, but you can't say it's a failure because it had 3 million players. And I would say that, oh, no, they said you can't really call it a failure. And I said, why? What would you attribute to its success? And I think he was coming out, genuinely. So I was quite prepared to engage with him because I wanted to, what would you attribute to success? And he said, well, 3 million players you can't say that's really a failure. Well, number one, you've got to put that in context of
that's the most important thing. You absolutely have to do that.
But secondly, it was just like, players are fine, but sales are what makes a industry continue. And how many, if you don't say sales and you say players, then you haven't sold that many fucking players, many copies. And so, but you have to put it into context. Now, Wukong sold 3 million copies, sold 3 million copies in day one. It sold 10 million copies by the end of the first week. You had Assassin's Creed fucking around going 2 million players, 3 million players. By the way, they haven't advanced on that 3 million players tweet.
Okay.
They haven't increased on that. And there's another thing I'd like to show you in a sec. I'm scrolling through. Yeah, 3 million players 5 days ago. They haven't altered that.
Yeah, good luck. And again, what does that mean? How many of those are sales?
It means the game is a failure. That's what it actually legitimately means. The game is a failure because we can't even give out our sales.
And that's one thing that you lead with, especially with shareholders. You lead with that all the time. Like, you're like, this is the money that we got, and sales are sales. That's the good stuff. People are exchanging money. 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, it's been what's it, March 20th, right?
Yeah, almost 2 weeks.
Dude, this is not good.
Yeah, and it's not like, again, it's gonna just they're gonna get some big fucking. If it was going to get or have legs, you'd have them by now.
Okay.
People that were skeptical played the game, and then blah blah blah.
Well, I guess the tanking stock price doesn't show that faith.
3 million players, though.
Tencent buys them out 25%. Oh yeah, not only does Tencent purchase 25% of the company. What else happens, Eric? They move the franchises to them. They move Far Cry. They move Assassin's Creed and one more I can't remember off the top of my head. They get pushed over to that side. The 75% of the team left, of the company left, they get told in an email, we're going to do some restructuring, which means layoffs. So just imagine you have Tencent purchase 25%. By the way, the launch was so successful that Tencent came in and purchased a quarter of the whole fucking company and took all its biggest franchises away from it.
Sounds like success to me.
Sounds like success to me. And people were just like, well, there's the reality of the matter, and back down again to nearly the lowest of October of last year, 9.
Oh yeah, it's close.
Yeah, it's and it could easily go, and that's after a fucking buyout.
Yeah,
so just imagine
and after your monumental game, or what was supposed to be.
Well, what happens when they announce the restructuring, aka the layoffs? Bye. That is an impressive drop off, by the way.
Yeah.
And a failure to respond. And then the game comes out. The game comes out here. Where are we? Comes out. Yeah, it's like, yes, this is it. This is actually it. This is the excitement coming up to the launch. So that's why it goes up a little bit in yeah, it's launching. Then news comes out. It's not tracking very well. So it starts to drop back off again. And then there's the, nah, it's going to do okay. Oh, fuck. He's fucking a they, them. And you've got your sale, your 25% sale in there. Holy fuck. Whew.
We'll see what happens. And by see what happens, I just really wonder how much shifting and moving and shaking is going to happen. Definitely with Tencent getting. I mean, 25%, or now having 25%. I don't know, man.
I would rather have Tencent have control over these franchises than Eves.
Fair,
because at least Tencent. Well, one thing positive that you can say about Tencent is they're in for the money.
Oh yeah, they're in it to make some fucking bread. That's for sure.
Yeah. So
Chinese or not, they're in it for to make some bread.
They ain't putting in no fucking weird shit.
Good luck. Shout out to the Chinese. I guess you are now in control of, well, not in full control, but 25% is a pretty hefty amount. You can move your weight around with it.
Well, it's 25%, but they're taking the big IPs with them.
Well, I guess that's just as good. So
it might as well just be 100 fucking percent.
True, fair enough.
That's what it might have fucking be, right? Because I got a feeling, and this is pure speculation, folks. There is no basis of evidence, nor have I heard from anyone to say such thing. This is just me and my brain. My brain said to me, Tencent went to fucking Ubisoft, and they said, we don't want to buy the full company. We will take a portion of the company. You will shift the fucking main franchises over to, and you can sort out the rest of the fucking shit because we're not dealing with it. So if you want the investment, and it is a big investment.
Oh yeah, sizable.
It's very sizable, and it will fucking save you. We just want to take 25% share. We'll take all the franchises that go in, the big ones that go in that. We'll work on there, and you can fix the rest of the 75%. And by fix it, we mean probably start to do quite a bit of layoffs, and then get teams working on other, smaller teams working on other projects. And if one of those projects yields an IP that takes off, then Tencent will go, well, I'll fucking that as well. Or they'll start to absorb more of the company.
Yeah. I think that's what's going to happen for sure.
That's just what I think. That is just what I think, folks. Again, I've got no evidence or sources or anything like that which says that. This is just where I think, because I wouldn't have wanted to take on the whole of Ubisoft.
Not at this state.
Why would I take on the whole of Ubisoft to fucking fire thousands of people? That wouldn't look great. Nah, I'm going to come in. I'm going to take your franchises. You can fucking do that. You can do that.
Well, shout out Ubisoft. I guess Tencent as well. And good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, I got your work cut out for you, man. Try to turn this damn thing around.
Maybe you'll make a game that somebody wants to purchase. Right, we're going to go to Supers because up on a little bit of time at the moment because I do some filming with the EFAT boys, you know?
Yep.
Mark Skies with the $2 says, how well has a working man helped the Horseman? Is there
like sales? I would have to look up that. I think it's going to obviously help more of Levon's trade than it is going to be us.
yeah.
But I mean, maybe there are some people that are like, who's this Chuck Dixon guy? What's his latest work? And maybe they'll come to us. But I haven't looked at the numbers.
Check out Chuck's Conan stuff as well, folks.
Oh yeah, check out Chuck's everything, man. Can't go
Josh
wrong.
Kelsey with a $20. Josh, you're a real one. I love you, man. Thank you. Scotty's been a member for 25. Thank you, Scotty. Well-read comics with a $2 says Nerdrotic sent me. Hail Eric July, Ripperverse, and
shout out well-read. Much love, brother.
Take a 610 with the $2 says Marvel took the chair stream to another level. 5 fucking hours.
Yeah,
5
man.
fucking hours of names of people that fucking failed.
But no Rachel Zegler, man. It's still disappointing, man.
Oh, just imagine if the last chair came on, it was fucking Tim Sheridan.
Or El John.
No, it's Tim Sheridan, and then Elton John's directorial tour chair was on top of it.
Oh, man.
We're playing the superhero shout out.
Yeah.
Callie off with a $2 says Jeremy spending that Trump graft on new lifestyle. Yeah, looks like it.
Apparently, man. More power to him.
Moldy with a $10 says at least for the most part, Nintendo games are fully finished on a release.
Sure.
The other markets have been taking advantage of the norm and expecting day one patches.
I mean, that is the norm. I mean, like expecting. I think is there a game? I don't know if there's a game I haven't played that didn't have like at least a day one patch.
It's
been a while.
Yeah. It's not great.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Technically, like, these games obviously have. I mean, look, buggy games have been released in the past.
Sure.
But I think that people feel like they're basically unpaid beta test. Actually, you paid them to beta test the game for some of these, and I totally get that.
Daniel Rude with a $5 says, "Hey Ripper, off subject, but could you briefly explain the hero stash option to me? Like I'm a dipshit hillbilly because, well, yeehaw! Didn't you do a video on it, a stream on it?
Yeah, there's a video that you can watch on the Ripperverse YouTube page that Gothix did. But long story short, it is a place where you can stash your orders and basically delay your shipping. So you can buy whatever item that you want in the store. This allows you to take advantage, especially of items that are in the pre-order window, and reserve your items and not having threat of them selling out on you. And you don't pay for shipping. You just store them in a hero stash, right? And that can be as many orders as you want. And what happens is when you're ready for those orders to ship, you can consolidate them and then ship them all as one order. So you save money on shipping. So say if you did that for 3 books, right? Instead of paying shipping 3 times, you can pay for it 1 time and have it be just a bigger shipment option. And store again those items. So it's especially attractive to our international customers as well, who don't want to have to, we're releasing almost every couple of weeks now, and they don't want to have to keep paying for shipping to be that much, at least internationally, so they can just store their items away. So that's essentially what it is. Like it sounds, you stash the orders and you go to your hero stash logged into your account and consolidate them when you're ready to finally ship them.
I think that's pretty decent explanation.
Like to think so.
So I hope that sorts that out for you, dude. Yeah, but go if it still doesn't, go check out the
Gothics explained it well, had the visual on it and everything. So
Coqui with a $10. So do you think the overpricing of the system / games has something to do with how bad other gaming companies have done in this past generation, while Nintendo maintains a good edge on the competition? No, Nintendo's always valued themselves high. They've always valued themselves high.
Fair. Yeah.
I remember when the N64 came out and people just like, whoa, because they were the games were more expensive on the N64. They're like 55 quid, not like the 45 that was on the PS2 and stuff. On the PS1 and stuff. So, they've always priced themselves high for Nintendo. So this does not, put it this way, am I surprised by this pricing structure? Not in the slightest.
Shouldn't be.
HTK base player, Cobra Commander in Chief of the $5 says, I'm not against paying $80 for a good game, but I'll buy a lot less of them and I'll be likely to get something I'm 100% excited for. Yeah, this is what I think. I think this is going to start to become.
Which, great. I mean, if the market, that would be a good change market wise. I mean, these guys you don't owe them shit. You know what I mean? You're paying for a ride. You don't owe them a goddamn thing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We shall see.
I'm already more selective on like what games I buy and when I buy them. So
because I stream a lot, I certainly look to the
that's
game.
different, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a different animal. Like you almost have to. It's like not even worth it to invest. Definitely if you're playing it on stream, right? It's not worth it to sit up there and wait 3 years after the fact to play Assassin's Creed Shadows in 2028.
No, I wouldn't have touched.
You wouldn't even think to. Yeah, you wouldn't even think about that.
I wouldn't have touched Avowed. I wouldn't have touched. There's a few. I just, obviously, Dragon Age. Wouldn't have touched that. Dustborn wouldn't have touched that. Yeah. Ivan with a $2 says GTA 6 is actually going to cost $100.
I told y'all, man. I told y'all, like they're not, and they just got. If they weren't already in the know on it, their executives that weren't in the know on what the what Nintendo was going to do. They especially woke up this morning was like, hell yeah. Like, because now people are going to, they can at least say, well, look, Nintendo on a console that can't play shit, but their stuff, for the most part, they're charging $20 less than what we are. So, we're not too far off the mark. They're going to love this.
Kalioth with a $5 says Nintendo is forcing the concept of wait and see because far fewer will buy everything at that price. If every game is not a home run, Ubisoft effect.
For Nintendo, I think we got to be careful with that, man. It just ideally, yeah, the market will respond. They'll make their adjustment. But it's Nintendo we're talking about, man. That's not Ubisoft. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking Nintendo. So people are going to give them a lot more credence, man, and a lot more benefit of the doubt. A lot. And by a lot, I mean like significantly. It's like night and day.
Daniel Rude again with another 10 says, I prefer single-player games, so I almost never buy at launch. For multiplayer games, my friends have to buy them for me to play with them because by the time I get around to buying it, they'd have moved on. It's good. It's nice system you got there. Craig Morning with a $2 says Nintendo has built in remote game sharing value.
Okay.
Ivan with a $5 says, I've seen some blame the tariff for the Nintendo prices, and I'm thinking, how does it affect a digital game? Either way, I'm done with Nintendo now.
Yeah, I don't know how quite that works. That's a good thing to kind of take into consideration. As far as with physical products, I also don't know what the Trump tax Japan 25%. I'm not aware of that, or something like that. So I don't know. I'm not sure.
Amra, the Australian with the 3 Australian says audiobook, same price for a 60-hour book. It's same price for a 60-hour book as a 3-hour book.
Yeah, like I said, I think universal pricing is one of the dumbest things that any industry can adopt, because it's determining winners and losers immediately, and it's like I just disagree with it.
Chris B with a $5 says, if Nintendo wants a return to the SNES and N64 cartridge era prices, I wish enough gamers would have the nut to hold them to the N64 SNES era unit sales.
We'll see. I mean, I guess so.
Blue Shell with a 1-month membership says, first ever gifted subscriber here. I hope everything's well. Also gifted super chat, Also, I'm finally caught up with my Rippaverse stuff, and I'm ready for spoiler talks.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We have the Rippaverse Roundtable every Monday. You can go check that out. The first one that we did this past Monday, where we talked Yaira. Was it what? Right? No, Yaira was the one we didn't talk about. Bloodruth
and the Great War.
And the Great War. Separation number 1.
I was lurking.
Yeah.
When I could.
So go check that out. And we'll be doing those every week.
Lurky. Manic Pixel Fangirl with a 10-month says, how do you all think Nintendo World impacts that price issue you're talking about? Theme park hype is a hell of a drug.
I don't know how they coincide. I haven't really thought about that to process that, but I obviously that's the only reason Disney is still a company, is because of how much money they make off of those goddamn theme parks.
Theme park be fine. Yeah, I think theme park be absolutely tickety boo. Probably get a price increase and some stuff. Take a 6 down with the $5 says Nintendo has the advantage of Sony and Microsoft being in a depression of sorts this generation. There is a dearth of first-party exclusives out there. This generation just hasn't hit it with PS5 and Xbox. I mean, Xbox has just got stupid Xbox Series XA plus, stupid names. Fucking hell. They've really fucked that up. Chris B with the $5 says, look up the Switch 2 game key cards if you really want to get pissed off. Apparently Street Fighter 6 and some other launch titles are using this.
What is it called?
The game key cards. Okay. Jordan Crow with a $5 says, please react to the cringe wheelchair basketball game for the Switch 2 and roast me while I'm reacting to it. I used to roast play Jordan. Real wheelchair.
Our team gives a shit all the time. I just ain't got it in me.
Is that the one you just stick it on your lap and you wheel your chair and then you stop and then you take it and you go?
Yeah, that's what wheelchair about. Yeah. Didn't they just have like some NCAA? Because I didn't even know that was a thing. It wasn't one when I was an athlete where they had like somebody won.
It's better. I'd rather watch that than WNBA.
Yeah, fair enough.
You do have to dribble. Okay, you do have to dribble.
That's interesting. I feel like it'd be more difficult to dribble in a fucking wheelchair than just standing up and dribbling.
Yeah, is traveling still a fucking thing now? You give it to the WNBA, they just fucking walk it from one end to the other and miss. I mean,
miss a layup, 10 rebounds.
Yeah. Jaden Fett with a $20 says, first mistake they made was saying it was going to be historically accurate. Yeah, and then they got found out. Second mistake was making a mid as fuck game. I always thought it was going to be. Third mistake was attacking fans. That's par for the course now. Now they've lost the IP. Well, essentially, yeah, because it's essentially Tencent's got control. Ivan with the $5 says Assassin's Creed Shadows was 2-hour end credits. I can't even imagine the budget. 250 to 350 million is the reported budget or speculated budget. Concord has 30-minute end credits and cost 400 million at least. That's 400 at least with Concord, by the way. So much money wasted. Yaha. Creative Welshman with a 3 month says Doctor Who is apparently getting rebooted by Amazon. How much worse can it get? Glad I stopped watching after the Doctor Falls. No more episodes after that. I haven't heard anything about this whatsoever. I haven't heard anything whatsoever to back up that claim in the slightest. But I don't think Disney want anything to do with it after season 2, and the BBC are going to be in trouble. DB with a £2 says, was Yasuke a samurai in RV history of Japan? Is that more revisionist history in Japan?
No, I mean, I think he means Riververse.
Riververse history. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see us referring to Yasuke at all, to be honest.
Yeah, something like that. TJ Krink with a $5 says, forgot it was a live stream and paused. The other Ubi franchises are Prince of Persia, Splinter Cell, The Division, Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six. That's it, Rainbow Six. It's Rainbow Six, Far Cry, and Assassin's Creed that Tencent have essentially taken. Those are the three. Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, and the Far Cry. That's what they've taken. TJ Krink with a $2 says, there is a few more, but haven't released in a bit. Yasuke, take 610 with a $5 says Yasuke explained himself to Nobunaga. I am not gay. I boinked your sister and also boinked lots of men. Nobu, that means you're gay and also dead. Get him. Yeah. Daniel Rude with another 5 says, my main question is, will my card be charged again for shipping when using Hero Stash, or is the shipping included?
No. You don't pay shipping at all with the Hero Stash at all. Like that's the benefit of it. You don't pay shipping until you're ready to ship the consolidated items. So there's no charge for shipping at all. You basically just be paying for the product itself and putting it in your stash.
There you go. We're caught up. Eric, before we go, sir, anything that you'd like to plug?
Rippaverse Roundtable Mondays at 6 p.m. Central. We'll be talking all things Rippaverse, ISOM 3, Zayland, as well as the Great War Separation #2. Got a lot of stuff planned for Rippasan as well as Rippaverse. Obviously, we just, if you want to go check that out, this morning, we showed off. We did a cool statue video for the Yaira statue, but we also showed off the Saoirse #1, one of their covers, as a promise for hitting that $500,000 mark, $500,000 mark for ISOM 3. So go check that out if you have not already. But other than that, I'll be seeing you Monday, and maybe it'll be my next stream with the team.
Yeah, boy. I will be. I did a fucking 10-hour stream today on Kazan. That was a fucking roller coaster.
Saw the death counter and everything. That
was a fucking roller, dude. Do you know?
It was at 47 when I tuned in.
I think when I ended, I think it was on 71, maybe. I think 40 or 30 of those were on that fucking second boss that can eat my fucking dick. But it's a kind of love-hate with that game right now. But man, I haven't raged like that for a while. It felt good, actually.
That's good. That means you're into it and you're engaged, and that's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's what you want. Yeah.
Exactly. So massive thank you to everyone who came to watch today. Mods, thank you very much indeed for giving it your free time. Everybody who's super chatting and support the channel, thank you very much indeed. Next week, back on Eric's channel. Till then, you take care. Goodbye, Balubu.